Will technology replace galleries in the art world? Now, for us artists, collectors, dealers, whatever, it's important to wrap our head around this question, because if you don't see the future coming, you have a problem. And so it's very important to understand this so that we can orient our tactics and orient our emotions in line with what actually is going to happen. And so in this video, we will answer this question the best I can. Of course, it's the future, so you can never be certain, but the best I can. And we will also give you some solutions, some ways to actually implement this so that you can win in those disruptive times. Disruptive times are most of the time the most interesting ones. If we look at the history in any field, we see that the power shifts and that new opportunities are taken and new successes are created in those disruptive times. Those are most of the times the most important ones. And so let's just dive in. Now, will technology replace galleries and dealers? There are a lot of voices in play within that question. We have voices from the outside, like Gary Vaynerchuk, who clearly states that technology will replace all jobs and that we have to prepare, etc., all that stuff. And we also have voices from within the art worlds that are kind of in line in the same direction. Lisa Schiff, for example, from president of the Schiff Fine Arts, she states that in the future, artists will have all the cards in hands, and collectors will, because of technology, have all the tools and all the information and all the data right there in front of their eyes to make those good investment decisions. And so that's a bold claim, that's a bold statement there. And then you have some softer voices, you have some people on the other side, etc., etc. But here's the thing, here's my perspective on this. When we want to know something about the future, we always have to look at the past, at the history. History repeats itself. Human psychology simply doesn't change. Our biology is wired and will not change in the next decades. And so, not in the next decades, it will barely change in the next centuries, like human psychology remains. And so if we understand how humans always operate in times like these, we can understand how they will operate and what is going on, what is happening right now. So one of my favorite examples is actually web developers. When like a couple of years back, or a couple of years, like a decade, whatever, a decade or two, Wix and WordPress came along and gained some popularity, and what happened was that all these web developers, they were afraid of their job. They thought like, whoa, this thing comes along, it can replace our job, we're gonna lose this whole thing. Yeah, like everybody was in fear within that field. And now looking back, what actually happened was that job demand went up and their job became easier and they could make more and more. And so nothing really changed there. Yes, it's ridiculously easy to make a website in a matter of hours with Wix or WordPress, but it doesn't mean that people were suddenly out of need of web developers. There are people out there who don't have enough time, who don't even have a couple of hours, or who just simply are not aware of how easy it is, and ask a web developer to make a WordPress website. They ask, like, even though you can do it in a couple of hours. Some people just don't know or don't want to spend the time in learning and etc. And now, here's actually one of my actual favorite examples. One that I got from Gary Vaynerchuk. When we look at the times when trains came along, what we saw in the newspapers is the following headlines: be careful of trains. If you travel faster than 30 miles an hour, your soul will fly out of your body. Trains are devil machines, beware. Those were literally the headlines. Like, what is that? Now looking back, we know that trains are not devil machines and that everything's just fine. Like, we fly with airplanes now, And so this whole fear of trains was just completely irrelevant. Now, if you look at the human psychology, we see that humans are conservatives. All humans are conservatives. We like to make that distinction between progressive and conservative, like that some, like especially artists, like they're so new and blah, and they're progressive. No, they're not. Everybody is conservative. Everybody is afraid of new stuff. And that's completely normal. If you look at the biological evolution, like it's just better for your biological evolution, for your survival, to be a conservative. If nobody of the group ate that particular berry yet, the first person who tries might just die. And the leader of the group would probably say like, hey, you do the berry, like, go ahead, try. If you die, then you die. So like it's just safer, it's better for your survival to be conservative. And so every time something new comes along, that type of our ancestral DNA, if you want to call it, that starts boiling up and starts taking over and then starts making those decisions. And so fear kicks in because your amygdala is producing cortisol. And then you're instead of making those neocortex prefrontal cortex types of decisions, what you're going to do is you're going to use that limbic system of your brain, that older part, that emotional part, and you're going to make those emotional decisions. And so we have people in fear all over the place, like will this happen, will that happen, etc., etc. Like now, recently, with the first painting sold made by AI or computer, whatever, like artists, like, oh fuck shit, before you know it, it will replace the whole thing. No, it will not. The short answer is no, it will not. Will technology replace galleries? No. Will their jobs change? Yeah, probably. But replacing, not in the next couple of decades. Why? Because their job is not data oriented. Their job is not data oriented. Their job is human relations oriented. And so, which jobs are the most robust against technology evolutions, or just evolutions in general now? It's those human relations jobs. People skills are the ones that are going to survive. And so the job of that dealer, the job of the gallerist is not necessarily data only. It's not necessarily just not data only, It's building out that people portfolio and building out those relationships. And so technology will not replace that. And if technology would replace that, we would already see that happening. If you look at, for example, Instagram, like at hashtags reveal so much information about a particular artist. You as a collector, you can go towards on Instagram, you can type in the hashtag of a particular artist, and then you can see how many collectors are behind that artist. You don't have to ask, you don't have to like you can see it. You have a metric right there. You can scan all those people who posted in that hashtag and see what they're posting, what artworks they like, etc., etc., etc. You can do that. If you're an emerging artist, you probably, if you work hard, if you do stuff, you can probably, in terms of likes and followers and all of that stuff, outperform an established artist. And it will look in those vanity bullshit metrics like likes. It will look as if you're better. But when you look at that hashtag, you see it play out completely. Like, all those emerging artists don't have any collectors in their hashtag thing. Like it's so obvious, it's so clear, it's like the secrets of the art world. How big is a community of valuable, strong voices behind a particular artist is now it's not a secret anymore. You go on Instagram and you see it there right in front of your eyes. And so technology is already disrupting this whole notion that it will happen in the future. It is already disrupting, and we don't see any galleries disappear. Like, we see galleries disappear, but we don't see any decent galleries disappear yet. And so, will some disappear? Yeah, probably. But will their job, will that entity be replaced? Of course not. Of course not. Now, in disruptive times, and I think this is the mindset that I want to adopt, because I ask myself that question, like, what am I going to do? What is my mindset? What is my attitude in a time like this? What do I need to do? And the reality is that I'm too young. Like, I've not experienced something disruptive as this yet, consciously. And so I don't really know, but the best tactic is probably looking at the high end of the art market, and looking at the best people. What are the top executives doing in situations like that? What did they do 50 years ago? What is their tactic? And what you see then, if you study those success stories, is that all those people who harvested the successes after disruptive times were the ones who did not put any effort in problem solving. They didn't solve the problems at hand. No, they put all their mind and all their energy in grabbing the opportunities. So they focused on the opportunities. Problem solving is a necessity, but on itself, it doesn't create any results. On itself, it doesn't create any ROIs. It's just a necessary thing. And so what you will see these top executives do, they will take their best people and put it on opportunities instead of problems. And so that's I think the mindset that we need in the next decade or the next 2 decades is not focusing on the problems that are arising and the secrets that are being revealed, but focusing on the opportunities that come with that, and then grabbing those opportunities, and then really putting your efforts and time in those opportunities instead of solving those problems. And that's going to be the attitude that wins. Why? Because that's the attitude that always won throughout the whole history of humanity. The people who won were the people who put their time and effort in opportunities. And so it's a matter of figuring out what the opportunities are that Instagram brings, or Facebook brings, or YouTube or Alexa will bring, or whatever will bring, and then using those opportunities properly. And that's an interesting game. So guys, I hope this helped a lot. I hope you can wrap your head around the future that galleries are facing, so that you can talk more comfortably about that topic whenever it comes up. And make sure you subscribe if you want more tips and tricks to lift your career as an artist up, or to become a better collector, or anything of that nature, because we will be posting videos, practical videos around the topic several times a week. So I hope you can enjoy those as well. And see you next time. Ciao, ciao.